Let's get let's get started here. So, I mean, the main goal of this workshop is to show you where AI has come, and we're one of many tools that can assist you in your thematic analysis. Basically, excerpting and coding and developing theme names and theme descriptions and tying to research questions. So that's kind of the arc of what we're going to be doing. But I wanted to start off with talking about how data is inputted, because I do think that there's nuances there. And I think the traditional way of doing this is that people have 10 interviews and as I upload 10 interviews. And that's certainly a fine way of doing it. And you can grab codes and themes and so forth in that manner. That's fine. But also know that you may want to divide it up. And I've done this when I consult with folks, is that they said, well, the first five interview questions are related to research question one, and the second five are related to the second research question, and so forth. So know that you can split those transcripts up by interview questions or by research question or things of that sort, and just run separate projects. The advantage is that when you have a very, I'll say, constricted set of data, that you won't have any bleeding over of responses or themes based on other questions or other study aims. So, just to know, to be clear about how you're entering in that data and the potential repercussions of that. Okay. All right, everyone can get logged in at this website here. And I think and Melissa also has that into the webinar chat. Terrific. All right. And we got a good crowd today. So welcome everyone. All righty. So hopefully you got logged in there. And I just want to briefly review what we're going to do. So we're going to upload data. And if you want, you can transcribe data. For sure, with all of this AI stuff, even though it's come a very long way in the past 2.5 years, you have to have read and really be familiar with your transcripts. I mean, this is going to save you 100 hours plus, but you need to have that one, an understanding of that, because how are we going to know if those themes are right or not unless you really have that kind of command of that data? So you can't get out of this step, okay? No matter how good the themes are. Then we're going to do this generating of codes via inductive autocoding. Basically, it's just a fancy way of saying we're going to go in with AI, we're going to excerpt important passages, combine those important passages, and then assign a code name and code description to those. That's a big step. Because it's developing the components that are going to be flowing into the themes. So once the inductive coding, and by the way, inductive just means in the data, deductive is I already have codes out there in the world that I want to see if there's excerpts to support that. But inductive autocoding, get the excerpts, get the codes, get the code descriptions. Then there's a refining process. As you probably all know, and if you don't, I'm here to tell you, schools can pick up, or journal articles can pick up AI writing, okay? They have to have similar length sentences and so forth. So you'll want to, make sure that the code name makes sense, but certainly look at the code description. I mean, personally, I go right to the themes, so I'm not overly concerned about the codes. But if you're going to use the codes, you want to be able to be able to edit those code descriptions. Then as a thematizing process, okay, so generate themes using auto thematizing. Basically, what's happening here is two steps. The first step is determining out of all of those codes, okay, how many themes can represent that? That's a question. How many themes? I like to have a couple of handfuls of themes. I don't like 20 themes. Um, there's too few people that are representing those themes. There's too few excerpts that are supporting that. So I kind of like, again, maybe 10 or 11 good handfuls of themes that have lots of representation across participants and lots of examples at each participant for that theme. So how many themes? And then generate a theme name and theme description that represents those codes. Then there's the refining process as well. So this is more important, I think, than the refinement of the descriptions, which is you want to make sure that those theme descriptions are really put into your own voice, and you add your own kind of scholarly voice and slant to those. We then have kind of another kind of large step, which is to really tie your themes, okay, your refined themes, to your study aims and research questions. Now, we have an AI process for that. I'm just sharing what I do as a best practice, which is I tie all of the themes to the research questions. Then when I look at those rationales, I can easily delete and say, that doesn't really make sense. Or, those themes are better assigned to other research questions. So, so there is a AI aspect to it in terms of aligning those themes with research questions. But I would say I'd rather have a lot of data and then just kind of edit along there. And hence that refinement process, and then download. The deductive process is similar, except that you're uploading a priori codes, and then it's just going to see if there are excerpts that support those, and then you can carry on with the thematizing and research question theme alignment. Okay, so let's get to it. If I can. Okay, so first things first, so everyone's logged in. If you have any problem logging in, certainly put that into the Q&A, and I'm going to look for the Q&A. Okay. And either Melissa, Ashley, or Samantha can help you get logged in. And then if you have data, you can follow along. If you do not have data, you can just follow me and what I'm doing. So I'm logged in, so everyone should be at this page now. If you're not, raise your hand and let someone help you. Okay. So I'll just take a breath there and make sure everyone can get logged in. Okay. Okay. All righty. So the first thing to do is to create a project. So you can just click create a project. And you can create a new project. So those of you who have data, you can just click new project, and then enter in your project name, the purpose of the project, purpose statement, and then importantly, your research questions here. Okay. We just and go to create project. At this point, you can go ahead and upload your text files, okay, or upload your audio, video, and there's a 25 cents a minute fee to transcribe those, or you can just paste in a kind of a text into here. Okay. So that would be the process of uploading data. Okay. If you're like me and others that do not have data, you can just go to Create Project and go to Sample Project. And let's just go to Education Policy for the moment and Transcripts Only. And what I've uploaded is 4 interviews here. Okay. Educational challenges, impact of ed policy, and so forth. Okay. So once I have my data in there, and by the way, if you do these samples, the research questions are also loaded up. Okay. Alrighty. So with these 4 transcripts, the first thing I want to do is just to simply go to the AI tools. Okay. So go to AI tools, and then we can go to inductive coding, which is identifying codes and excerpts. That's what we're wanting. And it takes a minute, but typically it's relatively fast, but it could take up to a few minutes. My experience is it's 2 minutes. And by the way, it does not have problems with larger. This is for interviews. You can have 400 about the same time. So it's processing things in parallel. So what it's discerned is that it found 72 excerpts in these 4 transcripts, and which comprise 24 codes. You can go to preview codes. You can refine those codes if you want, okay? But I typically just go to apply the project, and it's going to apply all of those codes over here. So here's unassigned codes, and that refining process that I spoke about would be something like going into these 3 dots to the right, okay, and clicking on details. And here you can see the code name and code description, okay, editable, as well as the excerpts that are supporting that code. Okay. So that's step 1. Now we have excerpts and codes. By the way, there's also 2 other ways to get codes in there. That's under the add code. Okay. So once you go to add code, I can manually have manual code and description. And you can see I have the manual code has no excerpts in there, but I could then just go and highlight an important passage and click the plus button. And now I have that excerpt or narrative tied to that code. Okay. There's also a kind of a hybrid version, which is, oh gosh, I really like that excerpt, but I don't really know what to name that code. I can go into the add code and AI assist. And what that will do is it will look at that passage, okay, and then it will, in a moment, okay, create a code name, editable, and code description, and I can just add that. So I'm just going to get rid of this for the second here. So what I've just shown is 3 modes of coding. I can do it fully manual. I can get AI assist to help naming a passage that I think is important, or I can use a full-on AI. So that's adding codes. I should say, since we're talking about coding, that under the AI tools, you can have deductive coding. You can upload, okay, your codes over here and import and export your code book. And then at that point, you can then use the deductive coding. Okay, so we have codes, we have excerpts. All right, so then let's go to the AI tools and go to thematizing. And as I say, the first step is really discerning how many themes there are. 10 seems like an okay number. And then the theme names, I'll just go with that. But if you wanted to edit that, you can up and down that arrow, okay? And I think we allow up to 20 different codes. Excuse me, 20 different themes. So you can edit that theme. I can update the project. And here you can see the themes over here. You'll notice it has a different icon here than the codes. All right. So the first theme is AI implementation barriers or implementation barriers, integration dilemmas, and so forth. Okay. And you can go into those three dots. You can go into those details and look at that theme name and theme description. That's already moved you forward a tremendous amount. Okay, so that's a lot of good has just happened there. Let's do a few other things. Under the insights, I like to jump right to the bar chart, and I have a very small data set here with just 4 folks here. When I look at the themes over here, these are each individual participant and the number of excerpts. Okay, so this first participant had 3 excerpts that contributed to this theme. Next person had 6 excerpts and so forth. I like to have themes that are well represented, that is, by all 4 folks, great, and multiple excerpts in each one. Okay? So that's really, to me, that is evidence of a great theme. This theme, not crazy about. Why? Because it has one person has identified that theme. And sometimes they only have 1 excerpt. This person has 3 excerpts. I would consider dropping them I like representation across participants. By the way, when you're selecting excerpts for these, for this theme, okay, you'd probably want an excerpt, from, let's just say 3 to 5 different people if possible. Okay. All right. So I like to go into the bar chart and kind of look at what's happening. Excuse me. Okay. We also can go into and by the way, under the Insights tab here, we can go into the research question rationale. And here, you can see the different research questions here. We'll take the first one. As I say, there's an AI functionality to look to see which of those themes go with that, and it's identified, 5 of them. Fine. And you can do that. And then it will tie those 5 themes to that. I'd like to go into each one of them, okay? As I say, I can easily delete integration dilemma later on, but I want to read through that, okay? All right. So select the themes to tie to that first research question. It takes just a moment. So what we have is the broad title of this section is the research question rationale. We have the research question, how do educators in higher ed perceive and adapt to the challenges presented by increasing shift towards online and hybrid learning environments. Okay, so the first theme is challenges of student engagement in virtual learning environments. That seems relevant. And then this is the rationale, okay? Why that theme can align with that research question. That's really important. And I would start laying out my results chapter in this fashion. For research question 1, what theme goes with it? What rationale? Okay, to help the reader tie those two pieces together. I'm not as interested in these things. And then I would do a deep dive of the challenges of student engagement. Okay. I would probably select all the excerpts and submit. And here now I have a theme description for that theme, challenges of student engagement. And then here's a description, hopefully refined or edited by you, okay, of that theme. And then the supporting excerpts. Some themes are going to have 50 excerpts. You don't need 50 excerpts. You need, again, maybe 3 great excerpts would probably be sufficient. 5 great excerpts, but not 55. So I like to endorse all of these things when I'm doing this. I like to check all, and then I can really just kind of read through them and easily, add or delete. Pardon me, not add, really just delete the ones that are really not representative. And as I said earlier too, I would also seek to have different folks talking about it. This one's by interviewee educational challenges 1, by educational challenges 1. I'd probably just select one of those. Okay, so I want different folks in there. All right. All right. Then you simply download that document. Okay. When you download the document, it comes here. And here's kind of our output. Research question, the first theme, and rationale. You'll have to pardon me, I have a little bit of a summer virus here. The rationale for why that theme challenges goes with that research question, and then starting to do a deep dive into each of the themes that you tied to that research question with a description and with supporting excerpts. Okay. So that's kind of the whole shebang here. So let me just see if there's any questions here. Don is asking about accounts, so I'll let Ashley, we'll get to that. Are we recording? I may need it. Yes, we are. And everyone will get the recording. And then they have, how long do they have access to this, Melissa? Just for a day or 2 days or?
Yep, they'll have it through the end of the day today.
Fine. So get to it. If you have your interviews, ready to go. Otherwise, I think as Ashley or someone's mentioning back and forth, it's, $59 for the month. It's kind of a nominal fee to, I want to spend 100 hours or $59. Give me the $59. Okay. Are there questions here? Just shared it. Okay, so all right, let's see what we have here. So let me see if there are shared projects since we are in a workshop here, and let me go to ending transfer. Okay, is it I just shared it.
That
Is this,
was
pardon me?
with me. But if anyone else has shared your project, Dr. Lanny, and then we'll unmute you.
We cannot hear anything you just said.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That one was shared with me. But if anyone else has shared a project with Dr. Lanny, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you and we'll go into your project.
Well, I don't see any.
Okay, there's a couple of questions if you want to go into those.
Yep, and then we could talk about other tools or anything else you want to talk about, research methods or whatever. Okay, a couple questions. can you give an example, theme and sub-themes with shapes in a system as in Max QDA? Boo for Max QDA. So uh, I'm sure they have a fine program. I don't know much about them. Um, so, okay, where was I? I was in webinar. So yeah, I mean, really, hey, wait a second, that's not the right one. I thought it was webinar. Hang on. 7:10. Well, that was me. And what happened? I have no transcripts in there. Maybe there's a different one here. Oh, it was under the business one. My apologies. Um, on today. So, and some people need this, and I've seen some faculty want like 4 layers of things. Um, it's fine. I mean, here we have a theme, we have codes, but I can drag a theme into a theme and have a sub theme. So here you can see that this is kind of, these are all indented, these codes, as well as that theme. So you can have a few layers here. I don't know if you can have layers upon layers. Now I'm curious. Can we have a theme within a theme? I mean, how many layers can we get into this? No. Okay, so there's a max of 3 layers. Okay, so there we are. Good job with error messages. All right, so we have 3 layers here. All right. And then of course you can manually, once you have those 3 layers, have a fourth kind of macro or superordinate theme if you wanted. Does it help you to analyze with any particular lens, for example, social? I don't know enough about that lens particularly. When I think about theoretical orientations and different kinds of questions, I'm assuming that you're I'm assuming that the interview questions are tied certainly to the research questions. But I think it's going to have, the way you would see those would be through your theoretical lens. So I think that's I'll say, after analysis kind of interpretation of those things, whether or not, what does that theme mean from a social constructivism point of view? Can I share my project? So sure. So you can share and transfer. So here, you can go to here and you can share the project with a colleague, with your profs with students, and you can transfer the whole tool, excuse me, the whole project to someone else as well. Is there tutorials available? So thank you for the question. So under the question mark, there are a whole bunch of videos, I don't know about a whole bunch, but there are several videos to be had here. Okay, overviews and getting started and so forth. Okay, and old webinars. I wanted to say there for a second, excuse me. And then other kind of text help as well, okay? All right. Create a project, lead a project, adding transcripts and so forth. And some of these things are good. I mean, there are memos that are being had. How do I manage excerpts? Different aspects of the Insight tab and so forth. Okay. What does the reliability tool do? Okay, SG. So the reliability tool was really my my internal fight. That to me personally, I don't think that because I can identify me or my team can identify different codes and excerpts that means that there's inter-rater reliability here. So what that function does is that you can go and click on reliability tool. It takes a snapshot of your excerpts and your themes. And I can put in raters, pardon me. If I can get this going. Okay, so you can put in your different raters, invite the rater. I think that will work. And then if I go to my email, just to kind of show you what's happening here. And refresh this. Okay. So here you can just click on so it will email folks. And then you can see all my excerpts here. And I can give some instructions here. You can really just start the survey. And basically, here's an excerpt, and your job or your rater's jobs are to then select the excerpt, not excerpts, one excerpt, excuse me, to select the theme that excerpt goes with. So basically a matching task that you're going to do, and then you go to the next excerpt. See which theme it goes with. So you can have novice raters, okay, actually do that matching task all the way through all of your excerpts. By the way, you probably only want those 3 to 5 great excerpts that we talked about, and delete those other excerpts. Well, what does that look like at the end of the day? If I can get out of here, I think if I can get out of here. So here, I think kappa. So at the end of the day, when you have a set of raters, 2 or more, and you go to insights, what's going to happen is that you'll have for each pair of raters, here it was Marlon and Melissa, okay, for each of those themes, it will share what that inter-rater reliability is, and that's specified as a kappa coefficient, and then as a qualitative assignment to those quantitative numbers. And then if you had a whole bunch of set of raters, say 3 of them, there would be 3 pairs, rater 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and 2 and 3. And then there would be some overall kappas in agreement for that. This is pretty helpful, I would say, even going through the process, because if your raters all have really slight or fair agreement or no agreement, something's wrong. Okay, something's wrong with the excerpts that you said is supporting it. Something's wrong with that theme name, and so forth. So it's a good check, but I think I don't know this, but I'll say this anyway. If I was a journal editor, I'd want to see those reliabilities from novice raters. So thank you for that question. Should we be including specific labels for each respondent? Remove our question. No, you can keep your question in there. So if I understand your question.
The first question, it was like a follow-up, is there a specific way I need to structure my transcripts for best results? And those go together.
Got it. Thank you for that. I'm working from the bottom up here. So you can see I would have a question associated with each passage. I'm not 100% confident that that's necessary, but I like to have that. So sometimes I'll see transcripts and there's one general question and then 20 student responses. I like to put that in an Excel file, replicate that question. So each question is tied to a response. So to me, that's my best practice for that. And I haven't done enough testing of, am I doing extra work for nothing here? But it's just so quick. But I want that AI to associate a specific question with that specific response. Should we include specific labels for each respondent? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ideally, this would be participant one, participant two, participant three. So when you get here to the excerpts, okay, that's participant two, that's participant two. So or participant four here. So yes, you want to label, you want to have pretty good labels, and I should probably do that with my examples. That's a I again appreciate the question. Yes, you should have participant one, two, three, four, or particularly if they are divided by leaders, teachers, students or parents or something of that sort, I would have that specified. So let's just take that case for a moment, by the way. If you had three kind of segments of people, like administrators, teachers, parents, you can put them all together, all right? But I think it would also be, because it's kind of quick to do here, I think I would be running a separate project just for parents, just for teachers, just for administrators, and see what themes uh, come out. And then I would probably do a crosswalk in my results chapter, which would be in the three columns, teachers, parents, administrators, and then have the first theme. And if that theme is common among parents and teachers, then I'd put it in both. So I'd want to kind of give a real high level view of um, of how these different segments of respondents are addressing or endorsing a particular theme or not. So, okay. Is there a limit to how many pages we can upload? Haven't gotten one yet. I don't think there's any limit there. um, but you can test me, but but I don't think there's a limit. Melissa, is that accurate what I just said?
I'm double checking, but I think it can upload quite a bit.
Yeah. But people don't know what quite a bit is, but I'm thinking, 500 articles. I think that's quite a bit, but I don't think there is a limit either. Of which it would prompt the question, what am I doing with 2,000 articles? Okay. So okay. Okay, got it. Thank you. I had all respondents in one big transcript. Are you saying that I should upload the individuals in a Word document? Yes, I am. I mean, you can keep it in one document, okay? But you're not going to have any discrimination when you look at those excerpts. Here again, this is one participant. They're all the same participant. You're not going to have any discrimination here. What you want, these are all the same participant. So what you want is individual. You want ideally take a moment, put them in put them in different Word files, and then you can see when you're looking at those excerpts, oh, we have different participants responding to that theme. We have different excerpts among, for different participants and so forth. So yeah, that's a good practice to do that, divide them up. When you say articles, I may have just misspoken there, Sylvia. Okay. All righty. All righty. We're kind of moving along. Let me just briefly mention a few other things. We also have a curriculum around qualitative that for students or faculty, you can look at all these different courses. Okay? You can buy them one, you can put them behind your LMS. For faculty, their competency based, grades go to gradebook, goes behind any LMS that you have. It is affordable. Melissa, what's the ballpark of an add-on of a course for 50 students at a department? What roughly? Any sense of that?
I think around $8 a student.
Something of that sort. So it's cheaper than renting the textbook. Okay. So just to know that the Qual tool also has some courseware to go with it. I will mention very quickly that we do have a quant tool. And in that quant tool, it's easy to upload different data, different files, manage that data, very helpful scrollovers. You can plot data in 10 different kinds of ways. And the analysis is very, very simple. I mean, I did a paired t-test here. Let me just see if I can do well, a very small sample size here. Let's just run a correlation. So for any of these things, you could just select the test, put it into variables, and hit calculate, and kind of see that the assumptions are built in, the APA tables are built in, okay? But a really cool thing with this is that it actually helps you draft the discussion section as well. So if you have well-named variables, as I did purposely here, the C-scale instrument, blah, 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 of clinical confidence, okay? So you need great names. And just to share with you, and if you are doing qual, but you know somebody who's doing quant, or your profs are doing quant, or you plan on doing it, you know, intellectual statistics can be helpful. Does take a few minutes, but I assure you it's well worth the wait. To draft a discussion section, to me, is a 10-hour job, because I'm not only talking about the quantitative results, but now I'm tying that to the existing literature to seeing, is this consistent with the literature or not consistent with it, and so forth. So it's a great, great draft once we get to it. While that's generating, just to say that the it's really equivalent to SPSS in lots of ways. It does 60 or 70 tests. And I really can't scroll down at the moment, but I think we'll just continue to wait for this for a moment. Is there any access code I missed? I missed that part. Hasn't, I'll get to you in a second there. So just regarding the AI tool, you can see summary of the key findings, interpretation of the findings, theoretical implications, practical implications, limitations, future research, okay, and then some conclusion. The caveat, two caveats. The first caveat is something that I mentioned earlier, is that when you have AI writing, that you need to put it into your own voice. Tools pick that up. And the second thing is that my experience is that 85 to 95% of these references are accurate, which means that 5 to 15% are not accurate. You have to go and vet each one of those by putting it into Google Scholar or something of this sort. If it's not accurate, you need to delete it here and delete up here, okay? Now, you may keep that thought, okay, and see if there's other articles that support that, but for the moment, to keep things clean and accurate, importantly, you'll have to address that. So two caveats there. And I'll just say it also has a power analysis to figure out what to do, and data plans, and so forth. So, and it also, I should mention shamelessly, there's consulting to be had here. Most things can happen in an hour. Same with the qualitative. You can get consulting and get support from me if you would like. Okay, and that's Nora's question. Okay, is it possible to schedule a one-to-one consultation? Dr. Lenny or another expert? Yeah, so I do those. I guess you make me want to go to the PowerPoint again, which has this kind of stuff here. So, so for students, you can really contact Samantha at samantha@statisticsolutions.com. For faculty support, which means demos, trials, courseware, expanding what you're doing, you can certainly reach out to Ashley at intellectus360.com. Melissa for any other general questions, or if you'd like me to speak to your department or your student group, happy to do that. Some websites to be had for the qual, quant, and general dissertation, I'll say, and you can take a picture of that with your phone to schedule with me, should you like, and as a free consultation, kind of more of evaluation. This is faculty is really free support, I'll say. Students is paid support, and but I will be able to help in a very short time. So, okay. Any other questions? Is there different pricing packages for students versus faculty? Nope, all one and the same there. So I noticed that other platforms do have differences, but for ours, again, if you're a student, reach out to Samantha. Faculty, reach out to Ashley. Other questions? Questions, thoughts, comments? All right. Well, if there's no other questions at the moment, you will get a recording of this webinar. You'll also get the dates and to sign up for other webinars. There's a DMP webinar, a quant webinar. There's a qualitative webinar, of course, and then there'll probably be some kind of a lit review, kind of short. We have a literature review tool coming out. If you know folks that are in the beginning of the process or you're still in the process, the literature review tool is going to be a winner. I mean, it's going to really pull together all of your articles at the same time, figure out which ones go together and write that synthesis, write those descriptions, and write that gap related to your research questions. If you're interested in that literature webinar, we are looking for a few volunteers, and maybe you can put your name into the question and answer if you want to be a trial user or in the process or recently finished the process. We'd love to get your name, and Ashley, thank you. But yeah, Tasha, anybody else? I know we got a lot of folks here. Even if you've finished with your literature review, but maybe it hasn't been approved yet, that would be a good time to kind of vet the AI versus your own, as well as compare time and depth and things of that sort. So you can always contact us at some point, or Melissa would take that email.
Yeah,
And
I'm going to email everyone the recording of this, and I'll put something about the literature review tool in there, so you can just reply to me, and then we can set something up. And it would be good if volunteers had all of your articles ready to go and solid research questions. That's going to be the requirement.
yeah, and I would say even if you've done your literature review, you're kind of working on your method, okay, that'd be a nice way to kind of vet both of those and get your feedback around that. All righty. I've been a little under the weather, so I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me with the sniffles. And I look forward to seeing you all next time, and just wish you a great rest of the week. Okay. Bye for now. Stay safe.